Are we ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. So loud, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Every time.
I'm trying to think of my ugly and awkward moment already.
Clear your throat. Here we go.
Had to do it.
Welcome to the Ugly Truth. This is episode 594. Every time you do it like that, it reminds me of that scene in The Wedding Planner where they are getting...
Well, yeah, isn't that why we say it?
And she's... Yes.
But probably nobody knows why we do that, because we just know.
When they're on the horseback riding trip and the mom goes,
Yeah.
"Oh," and then the horse just takes off with J-Lo.
Yeah. She's like, oh God, oh God, oh God. Yeah,
I like that movie.
I love that movie.
Those of us who can't wed, plan.
Jerry hates it when he's like, again?
Yes,
I'm like, it's
again.
on. It's on E.
I
Nothing else on.
Actually, yesterday we were trying to, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but we were trying to find something brainless to watch after a very emotional day, and Made in Manhattan was on.
I love that movie too.
And I was on my phone and I was just trying to ignore Made in Manhattan. I'm like, oh God, I'm feeling so warm and safe right now because I love this movie so much.
It's so comforting when it's on.
God, it was so comforting.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to The Ugly Truth. I am Jamie. This is my sister, Stephanie. Stephanie has, lives have collided for you.
I know. My worst nightmare.
So please explain what has happened.
I don't even know what's happening. Like I have managed for no one very close to me at work for the most part to know that I do a podcast.
And why are you not?
And I'm totally proud of my podcast. It's not like I'm not.
Yes.
But what's wrong with me? It does expose a slightly vulnerable side of me.
Well, because we're very honest on the show.
We're very honest on the show.
Yes.
You're my sister.
We don't lie.
Right. I feel like I act more of how I really am in my real life.
Well, yeah, because it's me.
Because I'm with you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just wonder, I don't know that I want people to know that about me at work.
The only time you ever really want to expose your real self is when you have their trust. Like
Right.
if we have parties or gatherings, anyone who's invited to that,
Yeah.
they will know you.
Right.
Yes.
Indeed.
So we are inviting strangers into our world when we do this podcast every week,
Right.
which I'm cool with.
Well, actually, I'm fine with strangers. It's people I know.
It's like
The strangers don't bother me.
I've created a facade and I don't want anyone to see beyond it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. So
how
I think
did it
that's
happen? What happened?
Honestly, I don't know.
Well, who approached you? Someone must have said something.
A friend of mine who's out on leave right now, she listened to the podcast and she said she liked it,
that's
which I
nice.
thought was very sweet. If she's lying, thank you.
No.
I don't think so. But I was like, okay, you know what? It was inevitable that at some point, I have a lot of friends on Facebook, and a lot of my friends on Facebook are workers, coworkers, or past coworkers. And so, and then someone else said, like a week later, it was a totally different person. I assumed that the first person who told me had told
Stephanie
the
has a
second person because they
podcast.
know each other. Yeah.
Sure.
And so I was like, so who is going around telling everyone I have a podcast to my friend? And she's like, she didn't want to tell me. I'm like, okay, no, I don't know if she didn't want to tell me or if I just kept talking. It's probably the latter. I don't remember, but ultimately I didn't find out. I asked her if the person that had talked to me, if it was her, and she's like, no. And I'm like,
You're
okay.
like, who's talking about me?
Clearly someone has found out about the podcast and people are talking to other people.
Well, everyone
who know
listen.
me.
Everyone listen.
No, I don't even know. No, it's nothing groundbreaking that we're doing here.
Of course.
So, and whenever you and I do the podcast, I always just feel like it's me and you. I know people listen, but I never think about that part of it.
I don't either. Never.
I just assume that people who listen are like, yeah, these guys are dorks, but they're funny, whatever. So
now, are you being approached?
now I just feel, not that I know of, but now I just feel like everybody's thinking something when they see me.
They're like,
oh,
remember that time you were talking with your sister about this thing? And you're like, what? I am not kidding when I tell you that I completely, once we talk about it, unless it's a core childhood story, I don't remember.
Same.
So when Daryl posts the show and he chooses what the title will be and he describes the show because he has to listen to it enough,
that he can come up with a little catchy phrase or something.
Yeah, and I'll read it and go, oh yeah, that's right. We did talk about that.
Yeah.
I completely, it just goes out the window because you and I can talk for like hours.
Yeah.
So it's actually very, Do you have to get it?
No, it gets me. I've been gone for, Jamie and I live 10 minutes apart. I've been gone for maybe 20 at the most.
And you're already getting a text.
And my phone is already starting to, it's like, really? Anyway, go ahead. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I don't really focus a lot on what we talked about after it's over.
No.
I just, if I listen to it, then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. But if I don't listen to the show, it goes right out the brain like when it's over.
I wonder, not to completely change this. Well,
change away.
I'm glad you have a little fan base. That's lovely.
Yeah, either fan or hate base.
Although I will tell you this, when we first started doing the show, it was a little bluer. Because a little more, Paula was very, very open about sex. And so it was a little,
I don't even consider it open. Paula's just crude.
Okay, so
it's part of her personality. She's always been that way.
Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that.
So when I say it, I'm not saying it as a criticism.
No.
Right?
She's just a very different.
Totally different.
So what happens is, and it would happen if you and I were like this, you just start divulging information that you don't really necessarily think is really private because you're just like, oh yeah, da da da.
Right.
Well, Daryl is very proud of the podcast. And he tells everybody.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He thinks it's amazing. He goes, the fact that these two have not been discovered yet is absolutely a crime. He thinks it's a crime. He goes, the right person's going to listen and it's going to just take off. And I said, okay, well, I think that's, well, he doesn't have to, but he really believes it.
Oh, no, that's so sweet, though. That's very sweet.
It's kind of like that scene in Selena where she's performing and the producer and her dad, he goes, is she ready? He goes, she's ready now. And that's how he feels. He's like, they're ready. It's time, He's
like our podcast parent.
Oh God, he's just so proud. Anyway, so at the time in the early years, I would just start talking about our sex life or whatever. Totally forgetting that,
he's the producer.
Well, not only that, but a lot of his coworkers listen.
Oh God. Yes, right?
So he was listening to one once and he goes, my eyes got really wide and I went, I can't let this get out. I have to edit it.
Did he?
Oh, yeah. He's like, I can't let people know that you said that about me.
I know.
And it wasn't embarrassing. It was
it was just very honest.
Very private.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So now I protect him.
Yeah.
Like I protected. I wouldn't say things that would be like,
right.
So Daryl was listening to your podcast on Sunday?
Yeah, like if your mother was listening. I don't know what's worse, your mother or like your boss. For me, it's probably somebody at work versus my own parent.
I will say this, that my 2 adult children who also really love the podcast have told me actively they don't listen anymore.
Because they don't want to hear that.
I don't want to hear about your sex life, mother. I'm like, fine. I don't want you to hear about it, but I'm not going to censor myself.
No.
But it's not for you. And I've said that to our mom. I've said it to other people. I'm like, the show's not for you. I don't want you to hear it.
Right, yeah.
You wouldn't get it.
Right.
Anyway, it's like, you can't sit with us.
Well, the other thing is I have to, and I've said this before on the show, I've said it many times, that because of the kind of work I do have to be very careful about the content that I post on social media in general. Mm-hmm. So I, of course, am racking my brain like, God, what have I said? Have I named anyone? I'm like,
you don't.
I try not to, but yeah.
And also we give Daryl notes. He knows what to pull if we do get a little too
Thank God
loose.
for Dub. OMG.
If I just have to, and this is going to segue into our next segment. If anything were to happen to him, the show dies. There's no way that we can do this.
No, I know. People really underestimate how difficult it is to produce a show to make it sound so it's not completely horrible.
It is. First of all, I told him, I'm like, I need to know how to edit because, there was a time when he just was really having a hard time getting it done in time and stuff. And I said, no shade, I should know how to edit my own show. Yeah. I feel like it's important. And he's like, okay, I'll show you. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to know how to do it.
Never mind.
It's hard and it's
not just editing.
It's just math. And it's all, I don't know how to upload a show.
It's not even, I mean, I feel like editing is partially technical, but it's also partially artistic because you kind of had to know, you have to have an ear for what sounds good, what would be funny, what's too much. I mean, it's not just, I wouldn't know. Any old idiot could not do it. It does take finesse.
And I would be an old idiot. I couldn't do it. So there's a reason why he's really passionate about it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's a lot of work. You guys have put in a lot of work in the show over the years.
He's put in a lot of effort to make it sound better.
Definitely.
So thank you. That's all you get. That's all you get, Dove.
No, we're not going to keep. Yeah, right. Moving on.
No more ego stroking for you, sir. Anyway,
he's got a huge smile on his face in his office right now as he's editing this.
So funny. Yeah. Sorry, he does. Oh, well, anyway. Segueing. So I'm going to end this segment in a funny thing, though. So it's not going to get too super serious. So this year, these are premature losses of life. This is not old people. I know that I'm not 30 anymore, but
it's not like Jane Fonda died. Well, she was 92. Well, it's still terrible.
Exactly.
I remember her from Barefoot in the Park.
Exactly. Yeah. From 1962. It was just a minute ago.
You'll never know what it was like back then.
I don't want to know what it's like back then. We're living it right now, by the way. So anyway, I've had 2 very premature losses in my friend world.
Oh, in your friend world.
Yes. Okay. I had a friend who passed away the day before she turned 50.
I remember.
From cancer.
Very sad.
She was battling it for a couple of years. And it was very surprising. No one expected her to die so suddenly. So that was horrifying. And then my good friend Tammy, who we were really good friends when the kids were in grade school. She decided to befriend me because I am not good at making friends.
Really? You're kidding.
I know. It's weird, right?
I know. I can't relate.
We used to just make the excuses like, well, we have our built-in friend group. Our sisters are our friend group. So we don't have that ache for friends outside of it. But as I've grown older, you and I are really close friends, but,
no one else.
Hello?
I know. Huh?
Anybody there? So
the fact that I even have like a bestie at work is a miracle.
I know.
Which is why I'm like a needy chihuahua now that she's gone. I'm like, what
am I going to do? Now I know what it feels like.
No one.
Now I know what it feels like to be a chihuahua. Anyway, so Tammy was not someone that I interacted with daily or anything anymore. We had kind of grown, all our kids turned into adults.
It happens.
Jesus Christ, your life gets crazy when you have adult children.
It's true.
Yeah, you have an adult child. So anyway, but we were indirectly always kind of like we were just like touchstones. Like,
yeah, I feel you.
It was just one of those things
you
where
didn't necessarily need to talk to each other every day and all the time, but you were just always
like, it was like we just had this thing.
Like, I feel you, bro.
So, she's the reason why we're friends because when our kids were in grade school, she saw something in me, I'm not sure, but she just literally glommed onto me. And she's like, you're going to be my friend. She used to drag me to freaking bunco nights when bunco was a big thing.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
She made you do things that you would never normally do.
I didn't want to do, but she's like, no, I make it cool. So
like,
do it.
Fine.
And she was hilarious. Her husband, Lou, her children, everybody was great. And I'm like, okay. So she died at the end of September, October, like not that long ago, just a couple of weeks ago. So she's a lot like us. She did not want a big to-do. She did not want a funeral.
What happened to her?
She had cancer. She had adrenal cancer, which is incredibly rare, by the way.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that.
Exactly. Now your adrenal glands are on top of your kidneys, I believe.
Not a place you want to get cancer.
And what's worse is it's like those other weird, like pancreatic cancer where you don't even know you have it until you're in stage 4.
Fuck. Oh my
so
God.
Her daughter was great because she did a tribute to her mom yesterday at this event that we went to. So when she was terminal immediately, they said, look, you have maybe a year if you're lucky.
Oh God.
She made it like 10 months.
Oh God.
So anyway, I don't think I even have a tear left to shed, by the way, because I cried so much yesterday. But anyway, she said, that's okay. Stage 1's for pussies.
Oh,
so, because she got checked out, they're like, well, you have stage 4 adrenal cancer and we don't know what to tell you, but there ain't no cure and da-da-da. So she passed away a little quicker than they expected.
Well, you can't know.
Because they're like, she was doing great and then just one day.
It's just like that.
Yeah.
It is just that way.
So and she said, her daughter goes, my mother's been planning her funeral her whole life.
Oh,
because she's morbid, you know.
Right.
And I'm like, that sounds familiar.
Yeah,
I do it all the time.
Same.
I've had my plans for when I die forever. You know,
I am worth a small fortune in life insurance right now.
Because
so we just had open enrollment at work, and I'm like, well, this could be the year, and watch, I won't do it, and then something happens, and then Jeff and Jerry are poor.
Exactly. Just do it.
Yeah. So I did it.
Daryl and I are both worth a small fortune.
What's $7 a paycheck?
Nothing.
I mean, come on.
Not for the future of your family.
It was just the knowledge of
it feels
knowing
good.
They would be okay. Yeah.
Yes. So she's like telling her husband, I don't want a funeral. And he goes, well, what about a celebration of life? She goes, those are stupid. And he's like, well, what do you want? He goes, how about a Palooza? because you need to give people closure. You can't just drift off and that be done with it.
I'm telling you, that happened to us, and it was awful.
To not have the closure.
To not have anything. It was like she wasn't there.
You just need something. People.
Well, I felt so empty. Like, it's like, that's
it was
just like the next day and we just move on.
Yeah, it's weird, right? I mean, there is some comfort actually in the fact that when someone dies, life continues. There is a comfort in that.
Yeah, and life's going to continue because you've had other people in your life die.
Of course.
And I think as you get older, you start to realize how that's part of the coldness of death.
It is. It's the finality of
it. The
it.
person was there and you knew them, and now they're just not, and you're just supposed to go on with your life.
It's like, I'm just supposed to have breakfast now?
Right.
It's weird. So she's like, all right, fine, you can have a Palooza.
What's a Palooza? Like a party?
We called it Tammy Palooza. It was a celebration of life. They just put a different spin on it.
Yeah.
So it was yesterday from 2 to 5. So Daryl, first of all, I didn't want to go because I'm like, then I have to admit that she's dead. And I hate it because I haven't seen her in a while. So I'm like, I can just pretend she's just floating out there. But I'm not that person. Right. So we went. So we went. And they're like, you can't wear black. You have to wear something celebratory. And I'm like, I literally only wear black in my life.
All the time.
I don't have anything
Funerals
celebratory.
Or no. Yeah.
So I found a navy blue dress that I thought, all right, this is as close to non-black as you're going to get.
For me, yeah.
So we show up and there is a line out the door.
OMG.
So we're waiting in line.
It wasn't like at a church or something, was it?
No, it was at a community center. They rented a community center room and just.
Okay.
So we're waiting in line and I am a fringe friend. Our kids didn't play soccer together. I didn't work with her, so I'm somebody who I knew her very well, but
you didn't know all the people in her life.
No. And the parties and gatherings, it had been a millennia since I'd been to one. Right. So I didn't, So I'm waiting in line with Daryl. I'm like, look, we're not going to know anybody. I'm like, hopefully a couple of the elementary school moms that I remember will be there, but it's not like we're going to have a table or anything.
No, you're doing it for you.
Yes. And I wanted to see her family,
yeah,
frankly. And so we're waiting in line. A half an hour later, we finally get in. And it is just wall-to-wall people.
Wow.
It was amazing.
That's so awesome.
So we signed everything. Oh, my gosh. So we signed everything. We find a table with her coworkers because we don't really know anybody else. So we're just sitting there. There's a big slideshow going of her. And
those are so hard.
She loved sangria because Mexico was her happy place.
Oh, lovely.
What's your happy place? Do you have a happy place? Is it San Francisco?
It probably is.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie.
So they went to Mexico frequently. And all the pictures of her on the slideshow of her in Mexico, she looked like a different person.
Yeah.
She was radiant.
She was like in her element.
Oh my God. She loved it there. So it was a very Mexican themed event.
Oh, that's cute.
They had it catered by a local Mexican place. And I guess sangria was her very, very favorite drink.
She would have loved that.
She probably planned it. That's the thing.
She probably did.
So there was big gallons of sangria.
But it's always better than you think it's going to be. You know what I mean?
So I was nervous. I'm like, I don't know what this is going to be like.
I get anxiety in crowds, period. Much less around death and stuff like
100%.
that. 100%.
So I literally planted myself in the very front, right in front of the slideshow, like really close, because I didn't want to be in the back.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there, and so Daryl's like, here, have a sangria. I'm like, all right. So I was drinking, and he ran into a parent that recognized him from elementary school, and she's like, oh my God, where's your wife? La la la. He goes, oh, she's over there. I'm just getting her a beverage. And she's like, I just want you to know that when Tammy was dying, she was at home and she was dying. She's like, I went to visit her, and I had COVID.
Oh crap.
I know, it sucked, but it's okay.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm dying. I wouldn't mind it if you snuck in a sangria for me. Like she wanted it.
I don't understand people who deprive dying people of things they want.
Well, she wasn't being deprived, but it was more I could have a cocktail right
in the hospital and stuff. They're like, oh, you really shouldn't. You shouldn't eat this.
All the drugs that you're on.
I'm like, what? You're going to be dead.
Yeah, who cares how you do it?
Who cares?
Just let me have this.
I don't think one sangria is going to kill you. Give me a break.
So anyway, he goes, oh, that's cool. So he brought me a sangria. We're drinking it. I drank the whole thing, and then he got me another one, and then I'm watching the slideshow, and then I just sob.
Add a little alcohol.
I turned to him and I said, I cannot have any more alcohol.
It will make you a hot slobbering mess.
I'm done. I'm done. I can't be that person. And I'm looking around, scanning the room, but I'm literally the only one crying.
You know what? I think we're weird like that. It's like,
I know.
Because I
went to some weird photo and I went, I was like, what is happening?
Well, I mean,
I hated
especially
it.
at large. So I went to a very large. I think when you're younger, you have a tendency more. I don't know what it is, but we lost a very dear client about 3 years ago, and she was 46.
Very premature.
Very, very young. She had 3 young children and a husband, and it was a horrible situation regardless, right? And so I went to the funeral. It was my husband's client, but I knew her very, very well. We'd known her for 25 years. So, and we did sit kind of in the back because I didn't expect 300 people.
It's amazing.
Was huge. Yeah.
The people that are affected by one person, to me, it's
honestly,
just, it's so lovely.
It was. So then we're sitting there, it's quiet, and they did the slideshow thing. All of her friends went up and did eulogies.
Oh, it was absolutely forbidden.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Tammy would absolutely fucking hate it. He goes, share it amongst yourselves. Eulogize amongst yourselves.
Okay.
There will be none of that.
I don't know if this person had anything to do with her funeral or if she was just busy fighting cancer and dealing with that she was going to leave her family behind. But
so there was eulogy. But
it was, yeah. Yes. And those are heart-wrenching, by the way.
They can be.
Some of them were really funny and very touching, talking about her and her life and all of that. But I don't know what it was, but at some point something either was said or it was a photo or something, but I couldn't stop. I just lost it. Like,
I was like that too.
I think it was more, so I feel bad because it's like kind of selfish of me because
I felt so selfish.
I was like putting myself in her shoes. Like, because her and I were very close in age. And I was thinking like, if I were her watching my own funeral, like right now,
would I like this?
It wasn't even that. It was just so devastating for her husband and her children.
Yes.
And seeing my children and my husband in that much pain.
Same, girl.
I'm like, oh my God, this is what I would be doing to them if I died?
Stephanie, I cannot believe we're in the same brain. It was the same
That's why I was crying.
Same.
I mean, I was sorry for her death and I was sad.
It is sad.
But the whole thing is just like, oh my God.
It was overwhelming. And so I'm sitting there and I said, I can't have any more booze. I can't be this person. I'm not even I'm a friend, but I'm not even like the thing.
I'm like not her bestie or her. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to minimize my grief, but it was like, come on. He goes, honey, you haven't had your moment yet. That's all. And I'm like, oh, it just doesn't feel right. So anyway, I got over myself.
Got it together.
And then I went to go see her husband because I wanted to obviously give him a hug. And so I walked up and he's like, Tammy thinks that you and I were separated at birth. It was the first thing he said to me. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, because we're like literally the same person. He goes, the same music, the same social thoughts, humor, everything. I'm like, that's really funny because I thought Tammy and I were separated at birth. And I go, because we were so goddamn dark and morbid.
Right.
And foul-mouthed.
Oh, geez.
So foul-mouthed.
I would have loved her. Why did I not meet this person?
Oh, because it was so long ago when we met. And so anyway, so we talked for a minute and I go, this is great. He goes, yeah, she didn't want anything. She wanted a party. If she was required to agree to anything, as if she had any say in it.
Right.
It had to be like this. I said, awesome. So then her daughter walked up to me, and her daughter is somewhere between 27 and 30. I can't remember
same
when.
Age as our kids, yeah.
Yeah, but it was about the same time period. That's how we met.
Yeah.
And she walks up to me. She goes, I know who you fucking are. And I'm like, hi, Maddie. And she's like, come here, give me a hug. I go, can't believe you remembered me. She goes, of course I remembered you. And I'm like, oh my God, she's a teacher now. We talked about how they rushed her wedding so her mom could be there, all that stuff. And she goes, well, I'm supposed to give a toast. That's the extent of the eulogies is we're allowed to toast. And I said, oh, okay, cool. And I go, well, I can't wait to hear it. She goes, if I can get through it. If I start crying, it's over. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I said, okay, well, that's fair. And then she just started weeping. And I'm like, this is really hard.
Yeah.
So because basically they are putting on the strongest face they can to honor what
their mother
wanted.
Yes.
So then they do the toast. Everyone's crying, thank God. At this point, finally, everyone's crying so that I can start to cry and feel okay
and not
about
be the only one. Yeah.
Yes. So it happened, and it was difficult. And then I saw her mother.
Yeah, I know, rough. Right?
And she goes, I know she's dead. And I said, yeah. She is. She goes, but I just can't say was yet. I'm like, don't. She's here, man. She goes, well, she promised that she would haunt me. And I go, well, I believe you.
See,
and I believe her.
I can't even talk about this stuff. It makes me want to cry. Holy shit.
Anyway, so the reason that I'm bringing all this up is because I'm going to end it on a good note. So when she passed away, they said, hey, we want stories, we want sayings, we want anything that she did that made you laugh. We want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Because they want like a memory book of it for themselves, for their family.
I know.
And I said, oh, I got one. I got a good one. So I'm going to share it with you and then we'll move on. I think I've said this story on the show before, but it's been a really long time. So I was telling this story to my daughter the other day. And I said I was obviously very worried about submitting it because it's a little morbid and dark, but I know her and I know she wouldn't mind. So I said, I was PTA president for 2 years in grade school. And Mackenzie's like, wait, what? You were? And I said, yeah. And it was not something I went for.
Oh, I remember when you were going, oh my God.
I inherited it.
And if I remember correctly,
very hell. I was reluctant. I didn't want to do it.
You said everybody hated you.
They did hate me.
Super catty.
It was awful. And then Tammy showed up and she said, I said, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to pass it on to somebody. She's like, oh no, we're going to do it and it's going to be hilarious. And I said, all right, fine, we'll do it. So there is a big kickoff to the school year festival. It's like the back to school fall festival. And your daughter went, so you probably remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like the first big event of the year. It's a PTA fundraiser / get to know ya kind of thing. There's cotton candy, there's hot dogs, there's face painting, there's cakewalk.
Actually, those don't sound as horrible.
The kids love them.
Yeah, the kids love them. And nowadays,
it's a lot of work
they
for
don't
parents.
really do as much stuff like that anymore.
They don't, because the parents aren't interested, nor do they have the time really to dedicate.
Well, and there's so much political bullshit anymore. It's like you can't even do the simplest of things without somebody putting a spin on it about
You're
something.
right.
It's dumb. So they just avoid it altogether.
Yeah. So these were really fun events for the kids. Absolutely look forward to it every year. So we're doing it. Tammy and I are coordinating the whole thing. There was a parent who had a lot of kids all under a certain age and they wanted to help. And we're like, okay, cool. She's like, I'm going to do cotton candy. It's an incredibly popular booth. All the kids want the cotton candy and we'll make a ton of money. So she rented the stuff, was starting to set it up. And then she came up to me and she said, and we were literally in the middle and it's like 100 degrees because it's in September in California. She walks up to me and she goes, apparently there's some kind of emergency at my house, but I'll be right back. I'll be here before you know it.
So what, you had to run the cotton candy
So
spot?
Tammy goes, well, I'll cover cotton candy until you get back. She goes, okay, cool. So she leaves and never came back.
Who was this person?
I'm not going to tell you. I can't out her.
Oh.
So
who does this?
Right? And the thing is she was notoriously flaky. So it wasn't. But that's why we got so heated. So throughout the entire event, I'm running something and she's running and we turn and we're giving each other like that fucking bitch.
I can't believe. Oh my God.
Furious. We were absolutely heated. So then it ends. We did well.
And it was her shit that she had rented, right?
Everything. She's like, I'm going to do this. So I said, so now we have to clean the whole thing up by ourselves. Our husbands finally take our children home because we really need to wrap this up. We're the ones that have to lock up the school and all the things.
You're responsible.
Fucking PTA. So we get it all done and everybody went home, but we had our car and I said, I'll take you home. She's like, okay, cool. I said, I think that we should take this cotton candy machine and dump it on her front porch and let her deal with the filthy cotton candy shit and make her deal with it. It's the least she can do.
Right?
So she's like, I agree. So we lock everything up. We put the cotton candy machine in the back of the truck. We're driving down the street. Now, we all live within a couple of blocks of the school because it's a tiny little school. We're driving down the street, getting ready to turn on our street, and I'm getting adrenaline because I'm getting really angry.
Yeah.
And I go, someone better be fucking dead.
Yeah, like somebody died.
Like
and that's
there
why
must
she
be
didn't come
something
back.
serious. And she goes, oh God, yeah. So we turn the corner and I shit you not, the entire street is full of emergency vehicles.
Oh crap.
A fire truck, a sheriff, an ambulance,
a coroner.
Oh, shut up. And we both go, and I pull over. I go, holy shit. I go, do you think it's their house? And she's like, I'm going to go find out. So she gets out of the car and she marches up and she's like gone for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, oh crap. So I'm sitting there going, nah, no way. No. So she comes back and she's deadpan. And she gets in the car and she turns to me and she goes, someone died. And I go, no. What? She goes, her mother was found in the bathtub.
Oh God.
And I was like, Oh my God. And we then started laughing hard, crying, laughing. And I said, why are we laughing? This is horrible. This is awful. We are bad people. How dare us be so angry at this poor woman who's just lost her mother
in the bathtub. She's probably still in there.
And then Tammy goes, I told them I'd take care of the cotton candy machine.
How kind of you.
And I'm like, well, that's nice. I'm like, you're so kind. She's like, oh my God. She's like, we're going to pay for this.
Oh my God. That is so
I remember distinctly driving back to take her home. I distinctly going, we have to do something to improve our karma. We cannot leave it like this.
Well, you took the cotton candy machine.
I go, we can't manifest.
You could have just walked up and been like, hello, sorry. I hate to intrude, but here.
So we went to 7-Eleven, bought 2 beers, opened them, and glugged them in the car. Oh and God, I said, here's to her mother. May she rest in peace. Right. And then we spent far too much PTA money on arrangements and food and anything we could to
make up for your
at the end of the day. Thoughts. We are both incredibly generous, and we would never want to make her feel like shit. And that was who she was. Horrible, dark, morbid, foul-mouthed woman, and yet would give her left kidney, well, she kind of did, to anyone. And so that's who she was. And so...
Aw, that's sweet.
Lou came up to me, and he said, I read what you wrote about Tammy in the
story.
In the story. It was like, after he said we were separated at birth. And I said, you did. And Daryl's standing there and he's going, oh my God. And I said, did you laugh? And he goes, hysterical. Oh. And I said, thank God. I go, because I know Tammy would have loved it that I submitted that. I go, but I didn't know, given what we're dealing with, if death was on the table for humor. And he goes, oh yeah. And I said, okay, great.
Yeah, that's so
I'm sorry for your loss. Cheers. But anyway, yes, it's devastating. And I told Daryl, I said, selfishly speaking, I can't afford to have any more friends die.
Right.
I don't got that many.
I know, huh?
And I go, so, keep up on your scans and your mammograms, folks, because I don't have enough friends for them to keep dying.
I mean, that's just the thing that sucks about getting to our age,
These are so premature.
No, I agree they're premature, but everybody has people who die prematurely.
It does happen. I am not kidding. Anyway, so my eyes are fucking slits today.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, I woke up, it was funny, Daryl came upstairs last night and I lay kind of diagonal when he's not around because it's way more comfy to me. And he came in and he's like, I touched your hand, I touched your arm, I rubbed your hair, and you did not move. He goes, you know what? She's had a day. I'm just going to sit on the floor and wait for her to move.
Aww.
It was nice of him. But anyway, I woke up this morning going, okay, I've had my moment. She would be pissed if I continued
to be sad.
She would hate it. And so, and her daughter, who was drunk at this point, she's like, you want to come to Thanksgiving? And I'm like, do you want me to come to Thanksgiving? She's like, well, you were separated at birth from my father. You're family now. So you should come. And I'm like, okay.
We all say things when we're grieving and drunk.
I think it was sweet.
It was very, very sweet.
Anyway, safe home to you, Miss Tammy.
Yeah.
You crazy girl. Anyway, moving on to something else. The Sister Wives is getting the tea. Girl.
Is it? I'm behind.
Shit. Okay. You don't even need to watch Sister Wives anymore. You can literally watch the recaps on TikTok and know exactly what's going on.
I have watched a few.
I prefer it because, frankly, Cody reminds me so much of our dad. I really struggle.
Such a selfish bastard.
I just really struggle with it. I struggle with his manipulative tricks, his meanness, his offensive behavior. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
And the fact that
he's such a narcissist.
The most of his adult children don't have any kind of relationship with him.
Yeah.
And he thinks it's their problem.
Right.
I struggle.
Yeah.
I struggle. And so I'm like, I would rather just see the climactic areas.
Yeah.
I'd like to rather see the drama than the in-between shit.
Yeah.
So TikTok's great for that.
Yeah, I love TikTok.
And then I'm also on the Reddit for the Sister Wives Reddits, which I personally love. Anyway, so they're really stretching out Christine leaving. God. It's getting ridiculous. Just make less episodes.
That's
for God's sake.
Right? That's why I haven't even watched the last 2 episodes.
I deleted 4 of them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all still Christine.
It's all of them still sitting outside on the porch. It's like nothing else is going on.
Well, and Janelle and her RV, I imagine that's
You know, Janelle moving on to an RV. The reason that she did that, and she even admitted this, she goes, I moved the RV onto Coyote Pass because I was trying to motivate Cody to moving forward in building.
What we came here to do.
The whole point
4 years ago. Yeah.
That's never going to happen. They're never building on Coyote Pass. They're going to sell that shit and they're going to probably add utilities and then they're going to get their money out of it and move on. There's no way that they're building on that property.
Not now.
No.
I mean, their whole family, it's all bullshit.
There is no family. No. There's one family.
Robin and Cody
and her children who live in a bubble, who are all adults but won't leave the home. And then everybody else.
Right.
So, the thing that's the tea, though, is that Gwendolyn, who is Christine's daughter, she is, I believe, like 21, maybe 22. She has started a Patreon.
What's a Patreon?
It's you pay to see social media activity on this website.
Oh.
Videos, you can do some one-on-one. If you pay a lot, they'll do a one-on-one with you.
So it's like OnlyFans, but just for regular
Patreon
stuff.
is the OG OnlyFans with no sex.
Right.
Okay. A lot of celebrities do it. A lot of podcasts do it, actually, where they go, if you sign up for our Patreon, you'll get access to unedited footage or whatever.
So she's spilling the tea?
Hardcore.
Oh, cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, like,
perfect.
Well, now everybody's respecting it, so they're not posting any of her stuff anymore. They're like, if you really want to read it, give her the $2. Yeah. It's only $2 or $5 or whatever you want to pay.
Right.
And just read her tea and then you can talk about it. So, but the stuff that she spilled so far is, and this was all like she did not go by anybody. She just started vomiting up info, which is amazing. And so she didn't realize how many people would want to know about her life.
Come on.
So she started it like a $2 entry fee. And within 20 minutes, she had 500 Patreon followers.
Oh, lovely.
And then, so she's like, well, shit, I better up it because, so she upped it to like $7.50 or something. Now there's levels. It's like $2, $5, $7.50, and I think $10. Still very low. And she has like 1,000, like it's like well over 1,000.
A bunch, yeah.
She's gonna make so much goddamn money, and she should, by the way. So but
no one's protecting Cody anymore.
No, but she's got to think of her siblings and her mom and stuff like that. So anyway, she confirmed some things. Everybody hates Robin.
Yes,
and she paid up all the COVID rules.
She did?
Oh yes.
Oh, I know
it's up to her. She's the one that did the whole COVID thing.
She's such a see you next Tuesday.
Apparently, in some form or fashion, Robin still works on My Sister Wives Closet.
Oh.
And she makes her daughters do all the work. Yeah. And so everybody's like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Like, the website's defunct.
Yeah.
It keeps saying, coming soon, wait or whatever. And I'm like, they're still working on My Sister Wives Closet. It's been years. And they're still building this thing. Like, what's going on? Is it a school project? I don't understand. They still have a nanny. And Cody does not talk to most of them anymore.
Most of who?
The kids, his kids.
Oh, yeah. No, that I'm not.
And if you saw the video, if you saw any photos of when Logan got married, Logan is the oldest of all the Brown children.
Yes.
Cody and Robin sat completely on a different side of all the other old wives.
Logan is Janelle and his daughter.
Yes.
Son, excuse me.
So Janelle and Cody did not sit next to each other, which is very unusual because they did, they were on good terms for the most part. But Janelle recently, she's like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's not the guy.
Yeah.
Anymore. She's like, I don't know who this patriarchal fool is.
Right.
But this is not what I signed up for. Mm-hmm. And so someone goes, is Janelle still with Cody? And she's like, no. And she goes, well, wait. Because she's thinking, fuck, there's storylines, there's filming, there's all this stuff.
We need another season.
They've got 2 seasons coming.
Oh, for real?
I'm like, what are they going to film? Like, what is there to say?
Maybe the demise of the rest of the wives, one season at a time.
Except for Mary, who's still hanging on like a fucking piece of
moron.
Poo. God, she's like the crap on the bottom of the shoe that cannot get rinsed off without a hose.
I'm serious. Like, I can't with her.
He literally is like, I don't give a shit what she does. I hope she gets married. And she's like, I'm not going anywhere.
She's so like stupid. I know.
What is wrong with you? And then posting all of this, self-affirming shit on Instagram. By the way, I got blocked by her.
For real?
Yes.
Just from the show? From our podcast or from, did you comment?
I think it was first of all, it was like a year or so ago. I think I posted a clip because, I post podcast clips.
Yes.
And I said something about Sister Wives and Mary and all that stuff, and I was blocked immediately.
So you didn't post it on her stuff?
No.
You posted it on Ugly Truth?
Yes, but I think I hashtagged Sister Wives and Mary.
Well, at least she looked.
She probably went, "Oh, how dare you call me this," or whatever. I don't even know what I said about her. It's just so difficult. It's difficult to see, frankly, a woman do this.
I couldn't agree more.
Like, I don't care. If you want to say, I will always love Cody, I don't want to let it go. Obviously, I have to. But I don't see myself getting married again because I just really crave the relationship I had with him. But I am moving on. I would respect it to the ground.
Totally, 100%.
If any woman said that, I would respect it. But that's not what she's doing.
No.
Well, I want to still work on a relationship. And it's like, you sound so fucking dumb.
And so pathetic.
Why aren't your
friends? Have some dignity.
What kind of friends?
Because the only friends she has are friends who want to know her because she has a show.
Well, she has that one friend who she considers a really good, like her real friend. And I'm like, why isn't your real friend saying, what are you doing?
Oh, the friend that she does the Friday.
Jen.
Fuck no. Because if Jen was a friend, she'd be like, Jen would be keeping it real.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would do it. I would.
Look, my bestie and I have talked. We both have agreed, like, look, if you do something stupid or you're embracing something that's wrong for you, I'm not going to judge you for it. Okay. I won't. I might say something about it because I love you and I want what's best for you.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be the one, because we've said this over and over again. No one can make you feel more like shit than you can make yourself feel like.
100%.
Right? Like, if I feel bad about something that's going on in my life, like a choice that I'm making or something, no one can say anything worse than what I've already told myself.
We're very self-aware.
Extremely. It doesn't mean I'm going to change what I'm doing.
No, but I know I feel bad about it.
But I still feel bad about it. So,
Sure.
So yeah, to have a friend or a family member or somebody say something to you, like as if you don't already know that you're doing something wrong, so maybe she's that friend, but maybe I don't know.
Being a ride or die doesn't mean that you're just blindly supporting their foolishness. See, that's you're not being a good friend when you do that.
Social media. Like, I don't like people who use social media as some kind of disguise for what we all know is not true.
At some point, you're just going to have to let it go, girl.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. It's not even... Well, and
he humiliates her.
Here's the other, and this is the reason why it's gotten, to me, is even worse. Oh, it doesn't matter. Here's the problem, is that Gwendolyn also said, she goes, nothing is scripted. Everything is legitimate. Nothing is scripted. Now the things that you could consider scripted would be like, oh, we sent them on a vacation or whatever. But
they don't even do that with these guys.
Not anymore. They used to. They used to go on a big vacation every year. They went to Hawaii. They went to Alaska.
That's right, yeah.
They did. Cody.
I wonder if they don't do it because they're like we're not putting that much money in your show anymore, or if they just don't want to go with each other.
I don't remember when it was. It was probably like 4 or 5 years ago, and maybe longer. They were going to cancel Sister Wives.
Yeah. I fully expected
it. And Cody was
canceled.
all, no, we'll take a pay cut. And they're like, all right. So they took a pay cut and they continued the show. Now it's getting paid. They're paying off in spades now because everybody's loving to watch the demise of polygamy.
Of the wives, yeah.
Because polygamy is bullshit.
It is.
And I don't want to hear, oh, it's fine if everyone's consenting. I'm like, fine, then it's polyamory and it's not polygamy because don't have fucking kids.
Yeah.
And I've said this before, not on the show maybe, but it's like Christine is I celebrate her leaving a cult. Same. And that's what it is. At the end of the day, this religious polygamous sect is a cult.
Yeah.
And it's bad for women and children. Yeah. Period. And I don't give a fuck about that. It's like, you want to be religiously free and you want to practice your religion, fine. But do not bring kids into the mix. Don't do it.
Yeah, kids with no choice. Yeah.
Because now you're putting them in a position to be either brainwashed or have to run away, literally run away.
Which is what they're all doing.
Yes. And so, there's always an argument. Well, all religion is a cult. I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. I'm talking about polygamy right now.
Yeah. Polygamy, and all of the wives, mostly Christine now that she's out of it, she's like, look, everybody says, wants to say like jealousy is not a thing. She's like, jealousy is totally a thing.
It's the thing.
It is the thing.
Yes.
Right? It is the thing. And it is toxic and it will eat you alive. It's like a cancer. I mean, I have been in relationships where you shouldn't have to feel jealous, right? I mean, a little bit of jealousy is normal,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Right. But if you are feeling you are so
insecure,
or you are so jealous all of the time that it's literally eating you alive, then that is your husband's problem, not yours, because he's making you feel that way.
Usually.
Yes.
Well, for example, that just reminds me, I was going to tell you this. So last week when the Raiders humiliated us once again, Daryl and I had
ready for some more humiliation today?
I wish I was a little more I wish I just was more into self-harm, because then I would just be glued to the television the entire game.
I'm not going to lie. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to come home early, because it's like as much as...
The game's at 1.
It's like being a crackhead. It's like, look, I know that crack rock is coming at noon.
Somebody posted today, they're like, how are we all feeling, Raider Nation? I go, I feel like I'm on my way to get a pap smear.
Give me a break. Same. It's like a necessary, horrible thing.
It's like, I have to go, but I really, and if I don't, I know I'll regret it.
I don't want to hear Raider Nation. How are you feeling? Fuck you. That's how I'm feeling. God. So I went to a meeting. I'm wearing my Raiders hoodie. You guys can't see me.
Oh, yeah.
I went to a meeting with my Raiders hoodie on my day off last week. Again, I love working on my day off. And I walked in, and one of the first things that was said to me was like, oh, hey, nice hoodie. I heard they're giving those away for free.
Fuck you.
I was like,
don't you dare.
How? No, because I talk so much smack. This is what I get.
I know. Oh, well.
My team is in the tank.
Sunday was horrible. So Daryl and I had to go to the stores, and we had to drop off our ballot. So it's like, I don't know, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have an attitude because I'm pissed that the Raiders lost.
Yeah.
Again, I'm furious that this coach is still employed.
Me too.
I'm losing my goddamn mind.
And if you come out with one more press conference or one more press release,
we just have to coach
about
better.
just keep it. Shut up. Fire him.
You know what? He had the audacity.
I'm getting angry now because I finished my mimosa. I'm like, ah!
I know, I'm halfway there. The audacity. He said, hey, teams lose games. I'm like, oh.
We're like 7-2 or something.
We're 2-7.
I mean, that's what I meant.
Or 2-5. I don't even know anymore.
2-6.
It's horrifying. Anyway, we're in the store, and I'm in all black. I'm in my Raiders gear, and I'm walking around with an attitude. And
did you have a sickle in your hand?
No, but I probably could have appeared as if I had one. I was furious. So I'm walking through with an attitude, and men are so fucking dumb. They're attracted to it. They're attracted to women with bad attitudes. Okay. I don't know why.
Dumb.
But they are. So I'm walking around, and Daryl and I are walking around, living our life, and multiple men. Literally, I'm standing at the deli counter, and Daryl's waiting in line, and I'm looking at what turkey I want to get. And a man literally walks up to me, approaches me. He goes, look at all the meat. And I'm all, yeah.
Was he trying to be funny?
No, he was flirting. And I'm like, yeah, but... And I didn't see Daryl. I didn't know where he was because he said he was going to grab something. And so I'm standing there trying to decide what to tell him to get because I was going to run and get some other stuff while he's getting the deli shit.
Right.
So I'm oblivious. I never look at men anywhere.
I know.
So he goes, yeah, look at all the meat. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, that's the meat. And then I thought, maybe he didn't say that. So I turned and I looked at him again. I said, and I go, what did you say? He goes, yeah, it's meat. And I'm like, uh-huh. I'm like, okay. So I turn and I start walking away. God. And Daryl's like, we're so awkward though, right? Yes. It was bad.
I mean, the fact that you repeated it.
It was like, multiple times, Stephanie. And so I'm like, I walk away, and I didn't know Daryl was standing there. God. He watched the entire thing happen.
Why didn't he come over and intercede?
Because he was like, I was giving him death stares. I'm like, why?
Oh, that works.
I go, why? I go, he was this humongous Russian. I'm like, what were you going to do? And so I go,
and did I look interested, by the way? Like, ooh.
Yeah. So I walk away, and he's staring at me.
What a line that guy threw on you.
So Daryl's just giving me the look. I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm going to go get some cheese. I'll be right back.
I've had enough meat.
He goes, 2 to 3 men approached you in the grocery store. I'm like, yeah. And I go, well, we're together, obviously. It's not like, but every time you wandered off. And he goes, this is why I need to accompany you. Where I'm like, shut up.
God, grocery stores are a petri dish of getting hit on.
It is so true.
I don't know why.
I don't either. So then they moved where to drop off your ballot. Where we live. So I'm like, it's still open. Let's just walk in there and I'll just drop it off. And he goes, okay. So I go, just park. I'll just run in and do it really fast. He goes, all right. So I run in and I drop it off. And the guy stops me and he goes,
the same guy?
No. This was a
like,
different
me
man.
guy?
No, it was like the manager of this store. And he goes, wow, you're really wearing that in public, huh? Because I was wearing my Raider hoodie.
Right.
And I said, to the ground, fool.
I would have been like, oh, you're wearing that face in public?
And he goes, well, let me digress. I am a Raider Nation. And
then why would you?
I'm in the Raider Nation. And I said, so you're pissed too? He goes, oh yeah. And then I looked at him and he was wearing a white Nike like shirt and then a black Nike hat. It just wasn't Raider because he was working.
Okay, fine.
And I said, so we were talking about it and he had some good takes and I had some interesting takes on why the Raiders suck. And, blah, blah, blah.
Far too much conversation for Daryl's preference.
And we're being animated because we're kind of debating a bit. And I say, he goes, all right. He goes, well, peace, Raider Nation for life. And I'm like, black and silver forever. And so I walk out and I walk into the truck and he goes, did you know him? And I said, no. And he goes, well, what was happening in there? Were you arguing about the ballots? You were like, he goes, were you arguing about the ballots? And I'm like, no.
You should have just lied and said yes. He was being a total dick and I had to put him in his place.
I said, no, we were talking about the Raider. He was a Raider fan. And he said, oh, I can't believe you're wearing that in public. And I'm like, excuse you? And so then we started talking. He's like, what is in the air today? And I go, I'm adorable.
Right? Like, how hard is that to figure out?
And he's like,
like, you think you're the only one that notices this?
And he flips into reverse. He's like, let's go home. And I'm like, I have to be honest with you. It's been a really long time since I've had that much male attention outside of the house. Right. I mean, frankly.
It was an aura you were having that day.
I definitely was giving off something. I'm like, I got to bottle that.
Yeah, the pheromones that I'm perceiving to have today.
Anyway, do you have an ugly and awkward moment?
God. Do you have one?
I do have one.
Okay,
even though I did tell you an awkward moment, I do have an awkward moment.
Okay, so tell away. God, you guys must think like she never has an awkward moment.
No, you just sit
But I have so many. I just don't. Yeah,
come on, you can't help it. I mean, you can't help it. Plus, you had been sick and stuff.
No, I do have one.
Okay, so this is a weird awkward moment, but it's okay. So I am a nerd. I do play World of Warcraft. And there's nothing going on right now because a new expansion of our game is coming in a couple of weeks. And so because we're all kind of really friendly with each other and this is an adult guild, everybody's kind of in the same age range. We thought it'd be fun to do what we call a game night. So for the last, 8 or 9 months, every couple of weeks, we meet up online in Discord and we pick a game that we can play together online. So we play like,
sound like my son,
drawing games or, online golf or there's Among Us.
Whatever the choice ends up being.
Right.
Yeah.
So Among Us is the game that everybody really likes because 2 people are murderers and then everybody else is trying to complete their tasks before the murderers can kill everybody.
Yes. My son plays this game.
Fucking love it.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
It's fun.
I got better at being a murderer. So now I enjoy it because I like to murder people. It's really fun. And by the way, apparently Daryl's like, aren't they called imposters? I'm like, oh yeah, well, I call them murderers. But anyway.
Right.
So we're playing a game and it's down to me, one other guy, and these 2 women. And this one woman is you can, as a murderer, you can actually mess stuff up. So you have to go fix it or you can't win. And so everything keeps getting messed up. And so I'm running around trying to fix everything, not realizing there's only 4 of us left. So I run up and this one other girl, she's helping me because you need 2 people to fix it. So we're fixing it. And then I realized right then and there, because she helped me fix something twice. And I'm like, oh, I know who the murderer is.
It's her, right?
No, it's the other girl who's been
messing everything up
and doing quote unquote tasks. And so like, she's trying to get one of us. She's probably following Cheeto, who's the dude. And the 2 of us are just fixing everything. She just hasn't found us yet. So I hit the emergency meeting button. Mm-hmm. And I said, I know who it is. Now, everyone else is dead and they can hear and they can chat with each other.
But they can't play.
But they can't play or talk. So it's only the 3 of us because when I hit the emergency button, I find out that the guy who was with us is now murdered. Okay. So now it's just me and these 2 women. And I'm like, I know who the murderer is. Stephanie, I am as confident as I am a female. Uh-huh. Like, I know who it is. And so I said, it's Simply. She goes by Simply. I go, it's Simply. And she goes, I'm just trying to do my fucking tasks. And I go, no. I go, you have been sabotaging everything. And me and Faith are fixing everything because you just simply refuse to assist with things like this. And I wasn't being serious like I was being I was playing the game. I was trying to solve the mystery.
I get it.
And she's like, it's not me. And I go, yes, it is. Voted her off. It was fucking Faith the whole time. And she goes, I felt really bad too because I was trying to gain your trust. Because you had already called me out in the very beginning that I was the murderer.
Right. She got you.
I had never felt so dumb in my whole life.
Did you log off?
No, but I was just like, simply, I'm so sorry. I was so showboating too. And that's when we get our awkward moments, when we get a little too cocky.
Like, this is what you deserve.
Stephanie, I've been thinking about it every day since it happened. And I'm like, I think she hates me now. I'm pretty sure. Because the next game we played, she murdered me immediately.
Well, that was just payback.
That's exactly it. I'm like,
she's over it.
I'm like, I deserve that so bad.
Yeah.
I felt like such a schmo.
God.
I'm like, I feel like a schmo. And they're like, what's a schmo? I'm like, never mind. It's just making it worse.
So we had to move, at my work, we sit in units. So like we sit in bunches of 8, and we all have the same supervisor. I've been in the same unit for 7 years. Yes. And we have been in the same spot in the office we work out for 5. So we're very comfortable in our little spot. Well, management decided they wanted our seats for another purpose. And so they've decided to move us to another part of the building.
All right.
It's always kind of uncomfortable when you have to do that because you get used to sitting where you're sitting.
Of course. No one likes change.
No, but when you're a government employee, you are literally just a body in a seat. So you get used to that. So we moved, and it was quite the undertaking. And one of the things we get to do when we move is we get to bid by seniority to the new section that you're moving. So you can pick your actual seat, like what cubicle you want. And you start with the most senior, and then the least senior person is the last to choose, right? So I am second senior in my unit now because I've been there so fucking long, which is embarrassing.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. But, well, if you work there, you know. If you know, you know. Because if you haven't promoted or moved out by now and you're still doing the same job, everyone's like, what the hell are you doing? You've been there 10 years.
Understood.
Okay. So we did this. We had it all worked out to where my unit's very close. We're all really good friends. And so we literally had a map, a seating chart, and we all looked on it and we're like, okay, this is how everybody has to bid so we can sit with who we want to sit. We had to work it out because I'm second senior. So I knew, okay, I'm going to pick this one. And that means when it comes your turn, you're going to pick this seat. So everybody had to agree on where we were going to sit.
Oh boy.
Well, there's one person in the unit who didn't want to be a team player, but she had less seniority than me.
Okay.
So I could have been a total see you next Tuesday. Yes. And been like, fuck you. I'm picking where now you deal with it. But I'm not that person.
No, I'm not either.
I wanted to be. I really did.
I just want to pull rank once.
I did. And everyone, and even a friend of mine was like, that would be a really dick move to do. And I'm like, you're right. So my conscience got the better of me. Well, at the end of the day, this person screwed up everything at the very last minute.
Oh man.
We had all been a couple of people had been on vacation and came back the morning of.
They're like, what the hell is this then?
Yes, they had to very quickly decide. We were telling them what the plan was. Mm-hmm. We were like, we assumed everybody would be on board. Nobody was getting a shitty end of the stick. Like even the people who weren't there were like, look, we hooked you up. Like the seats you're going to have is still next to your friend and you'll still have the good side and blah, blah. But this person didn't want to play along. Totally threw a wrench in the fan. And we had...
Why can't they just be outranked or out...
they could have been, but it would have been me. Oh. I would have been the one to have to say, I know what you want, but I'm not giving it to you because I'm senior. So I couldn't do it.
Nope.
So... The person who's going to do the seat selecting from management is calling us at 8:15. It's like 8:14.
Oh no.
And we're all like trying to figure out, okay, everything's fucked up now. Like how are we do? So they call me and I'm like, I was like, I'll pick that one. So I just willy-nilly picked a seat. I literally picked the seat right outside my boss's office.
The one that hates you?
The one that hates me.
Oh no.
In his direct line of sight.
Why did you do that?
I freaked out.
Oh no.
I got awkward.
It too late?
It's too late.
Fuck.
So needless to say,
now you have to get promoted. You gotta get out.
Oh my God. So I literally built a wall. I took a cork board.
Perfect.
And I taped it up so he can't see me. But I'm like, why do I have to be so awkward? Like I just can't.
You indirectly picked the thing.
Honestly. And then after I did it, I was like, why?
No.
I'm like, God, Stephanie, what is wrong with you?
Like I just made my life hell. Yay.
I'm like, it's like I do self-sabotage all the time.
You were way too nice.
I know.
Way too nice.
And now I have resentment.
Of course.
Right? So now I'm mad.
Now you're like, I need to get out of here. Over it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's the show for today. We've covered a lot of ground. And congratulations to the group that is now fanboying my sister. I think it's amazing. You have your own little thing. If someone walks up to you, go, excuse me, may I have your autograph?
Well, my one friend, my really good friend, she did say, she's like, maybe you'll get famous and then you can quit this shit job we have. Aww. And you can live your best life.
Well, that would be nice. I don't foresee that.
I laughed. I go, that's not going to happen. But yeah, thanks for the well wishes.
So sweet. Anyway, well, if you want to support us, you can buy some merch or you can, share the show, give us a rating, anything. Oh, Producer Deb is in with a refill for our mimosas. Thank you, Producer Deb.
She's not even drinking hers. Mine's long gone.
Because I'll be honest, I didn't want to start crying. So I had to wait. But now that we're done talking about my friend, I can now I can glug it down. All right, everyone. Bye.